Dave, welcome to the podcast. I've got my drink. Do you have yours?
I have now. I do. Round two. We about pulled another stunt from
About
when
pulled a
Brennan was
Brennan
on.
here. Well, yeah. I'm so distraught over my weekend with Brennan that just
He's playing with your head.
considered
Was
not
that
even
last
record.
year or was that the year before where we recorded half a podcast
I
for
think it
you?
was 2 years ago, yeah. Season one, maybe. Um
Hey,
could it's
has anybody asked to be on this season and you've turned them down? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, well, so my agent talks to them, and then there's always a negotiation of like fees and stuff, like what they pay to come on, and because they have a product or like something, you know what I mean, that they're trying
Yeah.
to, and so, but it just hadn't worked out.
No, I get it. I mean, I don't have people, so they.
Yeah.
But I just wondered because we haven't had a single guest this season.
Yeah.
It's been
I don't think
sad.
well, I mean, just based off of what's happening in the chat, I don't think anybody likes us.
I know they don't like you. They've never liked me. So,
Yeah. So, I
what can
mean,
you do?
you were worried about. I mean, I think that 6 people being in the studs and duds side bet is about perfect because at any given time, there's only 6 people that are paying attention to anything in our league, right?
It's about the highest number that's ever voted for anything that any vote we've ever
Yeah,
had.
yeah, and it
And
it
any
doesn't
poll
always
that's
have
ever
to.
been put out.
Yeah, I mean, we did side bets in the past, like.
You know?
I mean, maybe we got 8 people to do one once, but it was like maybe because it was the first time.
So what
I
like before we get into everything, what'd you like? I mean, I just kind of came up with that off the cuff. I was just like trying to think of something, but I thought it ended up because you didn't know what was going to happen. Like the people you picked, like I mean, I assume the person that won, you know, won't say his name, but uh, he picked two that he thought was going to go high and one that he thought was going to go, and it worked out for him. But
Yeah,
I,
well, and I will say congratulations to Voldemort. Um, but those names, maybe not the one that he picked, Lee, which is who I had picked as well, like as who he thought was going to be as low, but Adam and Travis, like as the top two, I actually
yeah,
didn't pick them, not because I didn't think they were likely. I mean, they were very likely. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Adam went with, I don't mean this, that was just a safe play. And I was like,
yeah,
well, a lot of people might pick Adam and Travis. So I'm going to try to pick
yeah,
some people that I think could go off, like if things went
yeah,
well. And it didn't happen that way, which is fine. Like the teams that always score well scored well. And,
yeah,
you know, so
yeah. I
no,
wasn't.
it was fun. Like, I mean, anything
I
that
I
adds
I kind of
extra.
was
I mean,
thinking I was hedging my bets and that didn't work. I was like, I'll pick some people that, you know, they could go high, but they could also, go low.
yeah, yeah.
And it just didn't work out.
Yeah, no, it didn't
But
work out for me either. I mean, I think I was only in the running because like all of my teams were mediocre instead of being like having
yeah.
like a really high scoring team or any of that stuff.
Well, and I thought
So
Junior would have a good shot. He ended up picking, he was the only one, I think, that picked Brian. So
no,
he had a shot.
I had Brian and Andy,
Okay.
but I had Brian in my mind I had Brian picked to go high.
So there were two people because Brian was, an advantage because he only scored 77. So if you would
Yeah.
have just had
Well,
any two people that did
yeah,
halfway decent,
but I had Ed along with Brian.
yeah, that hurt. Because like, when you pick a 120 and a 116, you got a lot
Yeah,
of wiggle room.
Rennie ended up doing fine. I mean, he got to 100, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So no,
so
I mean, we'll see. I haven't seen anything posted. Like, I assume Brian might be interested since he brought it up that he missed the deadline. I'd do it again. You do it again. Adam said he'd let his money ride. That's four right there. Junior finally paid, so he could do it again. He
Yeah,
come
yeah.
up with some dish money or something. But you know, so yeah, I it'll probably go. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see indeed. So
So award time.
award time.
Man, I struggled with this, because, and we talk, it just, when the rich get richer, it's really,
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to give it to Brennan, because only because when I wrote up my write up, I was like, wouldn't it be a kind of a big deal if Brendan was able to beat you because he's struggled, or anything. And he did beat you. Did you see that? I don't know if you noticed that, but I
Yeah.
mean,
You mean the team that hadn't scored more than 90 points all season scored over 100?
yeah. Yep. And he got
It,
out to that big lead and you never could really catch up. And so I mean, but his third win is about as meaningful as my third win. It won't go anywhere if it doesn't add up.
yeah, me
And
and
then
Rennie just flip-flop spots of which one
yeah.
of us is going to play each other in the
And then, super tempted with Andy, a really tight win over the Red Kingdom. That's always nice. And it did shake up the rankings. It it gave somebody else a chance to get back on first. And you brought up something that was a good point. I didn't do the math. Math hasn't been my strong suit this last few days, apparently, because I wasn't adding up the side bet very well. But this was Flex's fifth high points of the season. So
yeah.
and he kind of came out at like I knew he had a couple guys left, but I just like, surely he won't pass Andy and get high points again, but he did. So, and he's back in first place. He's had a pretty, outside of Rennie's magical season, this has been a pretty good season for him. He's hovered at the top. He's
Well,
got a ton of, I mean, you look at
if
his,
you look back at Rennie's undefeated season, there's no way he had 5 high points weeks. You know what I mean? Just from if you just boil this down to a couple of things. If fantasy football is about financial, winning your money back,
yeah,
and pride, I mean, yes, Rennie's undefeated season, that's high on the pride list, but it maybe, he ended up taking home quite a bit of cash that year because he won the league and he won the
yeah,
championship. But some other teams probably won a lot of, I mean, Travis has a chance to win way,
yeah, quite a
he
bit.
could pay for the league just in high points.
Yeah,
He's already made the playoffs.
yeah,
He has a good chance to win the league. His team is
yeah.
set up
I
to
mean, in
have a chance to win the championship. So it's like, yeah, it's been
so
a great
anyway,
season for Travis.
Miller Time Team of the Week is Travis.
Your
The
good
flip
buddy
side of what you
Flex.
is Flex, yes. The flip side of that is, and I didn't realize it until Adam had said, let his money ride for next year, and you kind of made a point about that seemed crazy, but Adam could potentially, outside of this side bet, he only has $10 guaranteed, and he's had a great season. And it just
Yeah.
goes to show, if you don't win a bunch of high points, if he finishes in second place
Did
and
you
gets
say it just goes
somehow,
to show?
if you
Just
get
goes to
knocked
show
out
that
first
Adam's
round of,
team is smoke and mirrors.
no, you can, I'm just saying you can,
Oh.
no, no, I'm not. I'm saying he's had a very consistent team that never scores low, but hasn't, scored high enough any given week to get higher than everybody else. He's got a ton of wins, but it could possibly, if he somehow, plays the wrong person, gets knocked out the first round, he would not walk away with a ton of money, which not,
Except for the side bet,
except for the side.
which just made
That's
all of that. It
what
just
it's,
negated all that
yep.
because
So
Adam won in 1 week what it's taken Travis 12 weeks to win.
exactly. That's the picking 3 names out of, a hat, which he probably did. He probably had some calculators and some graphs and charts involved, but
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the team.
Yeah.
So we'll kick it to you, man.
Well, this is an easy one.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. When you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, Dave.
Mm,
And so when you've got a team that is playing the very last team in the league,
Yeah.
And even though they did great and scored 110.9 points, their highest score ever, but when you have all the points that you need to beat them on your team and you just don't play them, you got
It's
nobody to blame but
it's
yourself.
almost enough to make a guy run outside and freeze his nipples off.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Yeah, you got to clear your head and go for a little run to get ready for the next week. You know what I mean? You got to
I
leave the
bet.
past in the past. But nobody else cares about this, but mentally I do. So I've lost to two really bad teams this year. I've lost to Junior and I've lost to Brennan now. Both
Well, and
of those,
you lost to Junior when he was bad, right? Because losing to
yes.
him now, he's had some decent weeks.
Dave, stop. He's bad. Okay.
Okay.
Let's not talk
He
about was and is and like, okay. I lost to Junior when he scored 60 points. Okay. But on my bench, who I had just freshly picked up was Kyron Williams.
yeah,
And had I played him, I would have won because he went off.
he did.
Okay. This week, Kyron was coming off of IR.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And they
maybe
have
not.
a slew of other running backs that they might,
Yeah. And
why kill him?
they were playing against a pretty good defense, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like, hey, every time he's been available and on my roster and I haven't played him, which has only been twice, he's crushed and it's cost me a win. Also, this is a lesson for all of you out there, okay? I'll just say it. Don't fall in love with backup quarterbacks. Okay? They're they are journeyman backups for a reason. And
Well,
so,
I guess he's not a journeyman, but yeah. No, I get like the hot hand doesn't always
well,
keep
he's
riding,
he's
does it?
hasn't he been on 3 teams? I mean,
Yeah.
he's been on 3 or 4 different teams. You know, I know I've been mad at Trevor, but Trevor scored great the
You
last
know,
couple weeks, and
is this one of the downfalls of having depth, because it would like if I had Kyron Williams coming back, it would be a no-brainer because
you
like
got
most
yeah,
of the time I was scrounging for a second running back all season. But when you're sitting there with Taylor, who's, could have been the number one pick if he has been in other years. And then you got who else? You had
ETN.
did you start ETN?
I did, yeah, and
Okay.
he only scored 8,
Yeah.
and so then
He's had
and
better weeks. He helped you for a bunch of weeks way back, but he's
yeah,
kind of think they've been, I don't know what the deal is with that. But yeah, I mean you had choices and you just made the wrong one. Some other of us, it might not have been a choice. We were just like, hey, finally we get him back and we're gonna plug him in because this nutball that we've been playing for 4 weeks has not been doing anything.
yeah, but when you leave 60 points and 2 players on your team, on your bench, and you lose to the last place team by 10
So
points, you know what I
I
mean?
didn't even look. Did he make a good call on something or is he just playing his max? I don't
No, yeah, that was
actually
his
he
max. I mean, he could
Yeah,
have
because
played
he had
Stroud, but
freaking two
I mean,
quarterbacks that scored over 30. Now
yeah,
he could have played, yeah, I mean he could have played Hubbard instead of Herbert and beat you by a lot more.
yeah,
Um, which wouldn't have been like he had the same dilemma. He had Herbert coming back from injury and he went with him, not knowing whether how many carries he would get. And it looked like, you know, they were they had like 3 different guys that were running the ball and couldn't do anything.
yeah.
But
So
Hubbard's not even, uh, it worked for him, but he left points on the bench too. So, you know,
yeah. So yeah, so
we
let's just we kind of mentioned these. I don't know if we talked about it, but Andy had a big win.
yeah
118 to 116. So, this is also the interesting thing is that Rennie will often talk about wanting to have Monday night football teams.
yeah
You know what I mean? And then some guys don't like having those Thursday night football You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Teams. Well,
They
for
historically
Thanksgiving,
bad game or weeks,
yeah, yeah. So for Thanksgiving week, 3 games on Thursday, 1 game on Friday. So Brennan shoots out to a 70-point lead before I ever have a player go, right? Or maybe I had Ayuk and he scored 10 or something like that. But it
Yeah.
was like, it was like
A
70 to
big, yeah.
10. And but I had the Monday Night Football. Well, Brennan got out to a great lead. Well, so and I say all that, bring all that back around just because Adam had just, yet again,
Yeah.
Adam had the last player going. And,
Yeah.
it was the Sunday Night Football game, but, same kind of thing where it's like you got everything's all settled. And this is twice for Adam, where everything's played out. And the only thing left is his quarterback to play.
Yeah.
And the amount that he needs is gettable, right?
Yeah.
Same thing
Oh
it was
yeah.
for me. Dobbs could have got
Oh,
what I
10
needed,
more
right?
points. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
He threw that away in interceptions. I mean, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's gettable, and it's just crazy that Herbert, and Herbert had 16. Like he
Yeah.
said it wasn't like that Herbert had nothing. Okay.
Yeah. No, it
Um,
just
but
wasn't enough.
yeah, it wasn't enough. And, you know, two more completions, or one more score or whatever,
Oh, I mean, and that's when you have a match like that, it's like any player on either side, one play made the difference, and
yeah.
potentially like a
But
20-yard
that game was
run.
so slow and sloppy at the beginning. It just made it like the writing was on the wall after the first quarter. You're like, oh my goodness, this game is
Yeah.
just going to be a grinder. So,
And then
but
Hurts has
yeah,
a
huge win
big
for
game
Andy. I mean,
for Andy.
anytime you score 116 and you lose, dude, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So, and then we mentioned huge game by Travis. He didn't have much competition, but still putting up 120. That's big. The Rennie versus Ratty, that was a close one,
Yeah.
and Rennie came out on top. I honestly thought that Josh had a real shot
Oh
of
yeah. I mean, in it, the Tua game was early. That was Friday. But when you only get 11 out of him, he could easily get the difference. Normally you want that out of your quarterback, at least close to 20. And if he would have got that, he would have won. But I mean, when the other side gets 44 and your quarterback only gets 11, you got to make up those 30 points, and that's tough to do.
yeah. Yeah, so definitely a big win by Rennie, and a win that Josh really needed, you know what I mean? And so that puts him down there with a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to see what happens there. Junior squeaks out one against Ed.
Well,
This one was close, and
at
then
least they
Ed gets.
scored 90 and 86. It wasn't like, you know, horrible. It looked early on, it looked like there was going to be really bad, but then, Love had a good game got him up to 30, defenses, but like Ed he had that, actually his two running backs and Flowers, were good, but he keeps starting Will Levis.
Yeah, and I mean Thielen and his quarterback both, yeah, just hurt him. And then Buffalo's defense. I mean, I I don't know that you could have started Buffalo's defense against Philly, but I don't know how much Ed pays attention. If Ed's got somebody who is active, that's probably all he's worried about. I would have swapped that
Yeah,
out for
and
somebody else.
yeah, I mean, and we said the same thing about when one week Brian played the Bengals defense against a really good, like I think it was against Buffalo. It's like,
Yeah,
if you're facing the Buffalo, if you're facing the Eagles, they're going to score points. You almost have to get a touchdown to
yeah,
get to salvage 8 points.
yeah.
But yeah, a zero spot there. I mean,
And then
obviously,
yeah, it's tough. So what'd you do, Dave?
I pulled out a win against Lee. That's probably more. Well, I don't know. I scored 98. Wasn't horrible. Um, At first, I thought I made the wrong call on quarterback, and I didn't, because
Yeah.
they both scored under 15. Um, but it was,
You did make the wrong call. Just the right call wasn't on your team at all. That's what you're
exactly,
saying.
exactly. But no, it was, for me, it was Robinson finally had a worthy of a first round pick game. I don't know
Yeah.
why they haven't been doing that with him all year, but
Tough for Lee because he scores 92, which is great for him. I mean, he'd been really kind of struggling and he can't get the win. I know you need the wins too. You got a
yeah,
little bit more ground to make up, but a win for him would have definitely kept him in that contention to feel like he's got a chance to maybe make the playoffs because he started out so strong.
yeah. I mean,
So,
his second running back hurt him, but then so did mine. So,
yeah.
that was pretty much. But yeah, the difference was I had a really good, his defense. I don't know what the deal was with them. It kept fluctuating on Monday night from 18 to 16 to 18 to 16. I couldn't figure out whether to give him those two extra
Yeah, do you
points.
do you know
I
what
assume it
player
was
or what play?
it was a defense. I don't know. It must
Okay.
have been a
Whether it
turnover of
was,
some sort
yeah,
that they were
some
just kept flip
mhm.
flopping. But it was I was never going to bench Komet even when it was only 2 points, because I was like, even if he started off the game with an end around or something and fumbled it, and he's
Yeah,
he would catch a couple more passes, and he didn't do
right,
much, but
right.
then once it went to 90, I was like, oh, that's a 4 point cushion. But then it went back to 92, and I was like, so I didn't win by much, but
Yeah,
I got to win. I'm still got a chance. A lot has to go right for me to
yeah.
catch up in 2 weeks, but and
So,
I don't like
yeah.
my matchup this week, but
So, okay, so there's a segue. We've got 2 weeks left. Let me just recap the standings for everybody. Travis in first place, but he's tied with Adam, and this is a point differential thing. So, any win or loss by either of those two, like that, they've already been doing it,
yeah,
flip flopping back and forth, right? You got Andy, who's 9-3 because he won this past week, big game that he had against Adam. And so, with 2 games left, that does put him in striking distance of getting to the same amount of wins those guys do,
oh yeah,
because he's only a game back. He is less in points right now currently than both of those guys, but with 2 games left and only being a game back, if he wins out and those two guys were to lose the next 2 weeks, which is very
yeah.
unlikely to happen,
I mean, he's
but
closer to Adam than he is to Travis. So
yeah,
if it were Travis
yeah,
that
yeah,
lost,
back-to-back games
yeah,
after winning 5 high points, yeah, that can
yeah.
happen.
So
You
that
know,
would be
yeah.
wouldn't that be something
Um,
if those
yeah.
two leading all season, if Andy could come back, and that's the
Oh,
kind of stuff that's
I
nice
I
to
don't
see at
know if
the
we
end.
have a Miller Time team of the season, but that would definitely be
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely the Hillbilly Harrison Rookie of the Year award, right?
R- rookie jackass of the year. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Then Rennie and I are in Andy's in third, right? We said that. Rennie and I are tied in the fourth place position, separated by about what,
What?
11 points,
Yeah,
something like that.
pretty negligible.
Um,
Yeah.
and so and right now in the seeding, like where we would play in the playoffs, if the playoffs started this week, we're playing each other anyway. So
Yeah.
like yeah, so none of that matters, but there's 2 weeks, so a lot could change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in those places, my loss against Brennan and Rennie, just some because he's been on fire lately.
He
His
has.
slow start has been what's kind of kept us from being in the same position Andy's in, where we were within striking distance. I said it a couple weeks ago. Adam, Travis, Andy, they don't lose. You know what I mean? And obviously, one of them had to lose this past week. And, Adam came up a little bit short, but for the most part, I went on a 4-game winning streak, lost one, went on a 3-game winning streak, all during that time. Couldn't get above fourth
Yeah.
because those guys just don't lose.
Oh yeah.
That's so. Then you got Josh, who's at 5-7, along with Junior, who's now at five and
Yeah.
seven. Josh has a considerable points lead over Junior because Junior sucks, but Josh has left himself vulnerable. Are you okay?
I just, I found that funny. Sorry, Junior. I'm not laughing
Yeah.
at your expense. I'm just laughing at you.
Yeah.
sucking.
So, I would say that Josh is safe. I mean, he's got a 94% chance to make the playoffs only because, whatever lead he's got over eighth place, add another win on that because he's got so many points.
Even if he loses out, it's going to be tough for more for that many teams to pass him up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but he puts himself in a position where if he falls much farther, he's going to have to play Travis or Adam
Yeah,
week
I mean
one, and
I think he's got to be sitting there thinking he'd rather play you or, well, probably play you. He may not want to play Rennie. I don't know.
yeah,
But
I mean,
you don't want to end up 6, 7, or 8.
no, you don't want to play. I mean, at this point, you don't want to play Andy, Adam, or Travis.
No.
But that's what these teams are jockeying for right now. So, and then we've got Ed and Lee tied at 4 and 8. Ed currently holds the 8th spot for the playoffs. Lee is behind him by 108 points. And then Brian and you and Brennan all still within striking distance. But
the fact that Ed has lost 6 weeks in a row and he still has a playoff spot just kind of shows like Brennan, me, and Brian's season in a nutshell.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
like,
here's the truth. Like,
how in the world?
If you can only muster 3 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I went back. I was just looking in, Hillbilly Harrison history. You know what I mean? Like, there was 2 seasons back when we were only doing 13 weeks. 2 seasons. They weren't back to back, but they were, within a couple years of each other. Where I finished 6 and 7, and could not make the playoffs because of point. I was tied for 8th, but because of point differential, missed out. And here we got a team sitting at 4 and 8 right now, slated to get into the playoffs, and
which a 4-win team could very well get in.
yeah,
like one of those teams that has 4 wins that could lose out and still make it in.
Yeah.
But when you have that many wins up at the top, then that's that's going to do it.
Yep. So, all right. Well, let's jump into this week's matchups. We've got starting out, Travis in the first spot, Brennan in the last spot. They play each other. So Brennan's reward for getting a big win is that he gets to play against Travis.
Yeah. And there are bye weeks back this week, so that definitely comes into play for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if it doesn't look like it affects Brennan. I mean, it might do him a favor by forcing him to start Hubbard over Herbert anyway, because
is there something going on with Travis's lineup? Because it just I guess because Philly maybe is playing San Fran this week, it's his defense is down a little bit. His wide receivers, maybe.
Well, yeah,
Brown,
he's got Noah Brown in there right now, who hasn't played in several weeks, so his projection is probably kind of low. But we've all seen what Houston guys can do.
97 seems like a pretty low estimation for Travis. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean he's missing. I mean, Hawkinson probably on most weeks has has higher projection as a. Definitely than Brown would have. So yeah, I mean that's the difference right there. He's just got he's had to swap out a couple people, but he's got plenty of firepower to at Mahomes versus Dak's been a better fantasy quarterback of late.
Yeah, for sure. And so Brennan's proved that he can score points. I mean, 92 is not a terrible projection, but he scored way above his projection this past week, and he could do it again. And if you're Andy or if you're Adam, you're pulling for Brennan, right?
Yeah,
it's like
you're rooting hard, sending suggestions through DMs.
Our next one is that we're going to talk about Welcome to the Red Kingdom. Who is he playing, Dave?
Yeah, so that's my reward too. Like I
Okay.
get a I get a finally get a win, and then I look and see who I play, and yeah, it's a guy that is coming off a loss. He's probably mad at the world.
Now,
Um,
let me ask you, right now, he's projected at 103. All of his players are in the lineup. I thought you were working on that.
yeah, I couldn't I couldn't crack the code. I really
Yeah.
thought I am Satan would be his password. Like, why wouldn't it be?
I mean,
But
Red Kingdom and the whole thing, right?
yeah, you know, but and people gave me some nice suggestions. None of those
Yeah.
worked. I
Yeah.
wasn't able to get in and lock him out of his account. So I'm gonna have to try to beat him the old-fashioned way and have better players, which
Yeah.
that's gonna be a tall order.
Yeah.
And
Did
I
did
didn't
you
plan for
did you have some other passwords for some other people's logins?
um I'm maybe how about all right, whose is no appendix?
No appendix. Oh, I know this one. That's that no good, lying, cheating, Adam loving, son of a junior.
You would think, but it's actually there's this old story where Andy didn't have a pen, and so
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, I don't have a pen, you dicks," and so then he
Oh.
made that his password.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Do you have a
Okay.
password? Like, is there any that you caught a hold of anybody's passwords?
Oh, yeah. I've got one, and it's here's the password. It just
Okay,
says, okay, vote flex now.
Flex now. That could be anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
really. I mean, all 12 teams love Flex. They've been clamoring for it. Even myself, I don't know why it hasn't passed. I mean, it's really strange to me. I'll, I'll go out on a limb here and say Travis.
You would think it's
You-
Travis. I mean
Oh,
that because his team name is that and
yeah.
everything, but it's actually Rennie's. It has something to do with his tanning beds and something about the
CrossFitting.
CrossFit and tanning beds, some cameras that are hidden in the rooms, and it just says like right above, like when you go to get into the it says flex now. I don't know really what that's all about, but so yeah, it's Rennie's password.
All right, I got one for you.
Okay.
Um, this password is Bad Beat Brian.
Bad beat Brian. So logic wants me to think that it's Brian's because he has a reputation for taking bad beats, but something tells me it's not his. Whose is it?
It's actually Junior's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy, he met in the park at Mount Airy that
Oh,
wasn't real good at
goodness.
one of Junior's extracurriculars.
Yeah. Hmm.
His name was Brian. So
Okay.
Junior's never forgotten him, and he made it his
Never
password. So
forgotten him.
so if you need to
And
hack into Junior's account, Bad Beat Brian.
he was again wasn't good at his job. Is that what you're saying?
No,
No.
not like even part of the weekend.
Yeah. Bad Yelp review is what that's what Junior put on Yelp. Let me tell you about.
It for a bad time.
Yeah. For
Don't call
that's
Brian.
I understand.
Yeah,
Oh, all right.
you got one more, and then we can talk about
Yeah,
this week's matchup.
yeah. One more. I gotta look back through there and find it. Okay. All right. This one is I hate the Buckeyes. That's what
Hate
the
the
password is.
I hate the Buckeyes. Well, I never been a big fan of them because they always beat Purdue over the years, but that's not my password, or I'd know it. Um, I'll go. Oh yeah, maybe an IU fan, maybe Andy.
Maybe Andy. That would make sense. It's actually everybody's password. We have a side chat. The only person that's not in it is Junior,
Okay,
and that's the password to get in. Like if you want to be in the one that we use, the one that
yeah.
Junior's in, that's not real. We have a separate
Oh yeah,
one.
that's. Oh, I didn't know. I knew about the other chat. I just didn't know
Yeah,
that it was
yeah.
the
And then to
password.
get in
Okay.
it, it's I hate the Buckeyes.
Does
And
everybody hate the Buckeyes except is he the only fan? I mean, where there's a lot of Purdue's, there's a lot of IU's,
I mean,
there's a Notre Dame.
Yeah, across the world. Do you know anybody besides? I mean, does it?
Who does
Here's the thing
Brian
with.
like?
I mean,
Who does Brennan like? Brennan's IU, right?
he went to
Who
IU.
does
Yeah.
who does Brian like?
Brian likes. I think
Did,
UC.
did he go to school somewhere?
He's
Football
from.
school?
I think he's from Harrison. I don't know where he went to college.
We don't know anything about Brian other than he
No,
molests
no.
football kids.
The less we know, the
I might have
better,
made that
probably.
part up.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Junior and his fandom, and I've known Junior a long time, so I don't quite understand. How do you root for Ohio State football and Kentucky basketball? Like
Yeah.
those, like
And
if you're just all in on
you've never
Kentucky.
paid a dime to either one, as far as I know,
No,
right?
yeah, I think you went to like Thomas More or something. I don't like.
Well, at least he went to a school that still exists.
Yeah. Too soon. Too soon. At least I'm not paying.
I used to
for
bring
school.
this up with Keith because Keith was always a Notre Dame fan. I'm like, oh, so you went to Notre Dame? No. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think Andy's a Notre Dame fan, but that's because I think everybody who grew up in St. Leon Catholic just rooted for the Irish.
I see.
So,
what's he going to root for IU football?
Keith did not go to Notre Dame. He's not Catholic.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But Lee isn't either. Does he have Catholic roots? I don't know.
Yeah, he grew up in St. Leon.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But I don't question Lee's allegiance to anything.
Lee can root for anybody he wants to.
He can root for anything he wants. He can wear pink shirts. I don't care what he does. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So you get to play against Adam.
And I got some work to do to fill out a lineup.
Yeah.
I got to pick up
Andy
people.
been sending you some tips and tricks?
No, I haven't got anything.
Did you try going out for a run shirtless today?
Junior's going to like this. Listen up, Junior, but I need a tight end this week. That's funny every time. A tight end and a kicker. Yeah. And then all my dreams will come true.
Yeah.
That's going to be my thing. And I need Green Bay offense to suck.
Yeah. Like Andy, go ahead. You're still talking about your team and nobody cares.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find some points on my team and I'm not finding them. So let's move off me.
No. Hey, we're pulling for you. You scored almost 100, and I'm sure that Adam will take it easy on you. Now, if you're Andy and you want to try to win the league, I mean, this is a tall task for anybody, but to get to play Ed,
you could pick your opponent.
Yeah.
Week 13.
Now he probably would wish that Travis was playing Travis was playing Rennie and that Adam was playing anybody but you. He can't control those things. Nope. He's playing Ed though, so they both got some lineup work to do.
Yeah, it's a tough week for both of them.
Yeah, so we'll just see what's going on there.
He's missing his 2 Vegas guys and I think somebody else, Andy is, maybe not, and then or he's already switched him out.
Flowers is on by, Buffalo's on by. So here's the hard thing. We have to trust that Ed's going to go in and pick up a defense and swap out his wide receiver.
It's one thing if he already has him on his team, but when he's got he has to actually make 3 or at least 1 transaction. Mm-hmm. Does he have a wide receiver he can play? He does. Yeah, I mean he's got
2. Does he have 2 wide receivers on his bench?
Does he have 2? Does he have 2?
Because Addison's on by as well.
He does. He has 2. He's got Moore and Cooper. So he has to pick up a defense for sure. Yeah. So we'll see if that happens.
All right. And then where's Rennie at?
Rennie's
got Lee.
He's got some work to do too.
Yeah. I mean,
he's got
losing out on. I mean, he's got a lot of holes here. Yeah. This might be he's already in the playoffs. This might be one of those just punts for Rennie. You know what I mean? He was just like, hey, I'm going to wait till what week are we in? 13? Yeah, I'm going to wait till week 13 and have all my buys that week.
But the thing is, you got, I mean, for those of you in the, strongly in the playoffs, you got 5 weeks that you want to think about. for somebody like me, like there's no point hanging on to somebody hoping that
Yeah.
they get, suddenly start getting touches, you know.
Yeah.
So at this point you start thinking like, all right, do I drop, is Elliott worth keeping? Like he could probably
Right.
risk dropping him, Foreman, things like that. So he's got some people he can get rid of. And if he wanted to try to fill out a full lineup this week, which he will, Rennie's never gonna, he won't, he may not use a waiver spot to pick up but he'll pick up a quarterback from, he'll at least fill out a lineup. And
Yeah.
Lee will too, but he might not, that was a
Hey,
pretty big week for Lee, getting 90 something.
but with Rennie having a lot of guys on bye, Lee's still within striking distance of Ed. I mean, Ed's playing Andy.
Yeah.
Ed's gonna lose this week.
Oh yeah. I think
And
this is Lee's chance, a big chance to get that
I
8
mean,
spot.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the last team
I don't
getting
want to
into
see that happen. In order for me to pass Lee, I need
yeah,
Lee to
yeah,
lose.
you need them all to lose. I understand.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 weeks, I think that 8 spot, that's the most intriguing thing for me that's
Yeah.
going on. And who wins the league? I think that'll be interesting between
Yeah.
Travis and Adam. And does Andy have a chance to leapfrog both of them? That's interesting. The bottom is interesting for me.
Yeah.
The middle's all, Josh is gonna make it.
Because
I'm already in.
even Brennan's not eliminated,
Right.
and even though he's behind me and behind in points, but he could win out and throw himself in the ring and have a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
But we've had plenty of seasons where Danny's been at the bottom 4 weeks ago with no chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was the only one with 1 win. Everybody else has 4 or 5,
Right. Yep.
So at least we don't have that.
Yeah. So, who am
Miss
I
Danny.
playing this week?
Some off while worrying about Adam. Can you beat that?
I don't know. Hey, so here's the funny thing. The other day, chat got kind of like got sparked up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Bit.
It was like
wee bit.
And here's and Rennie's the one that like was taking jabs. I never even mentioned Adam's name. I said that if I had the Miller Time Team of the Week award to give away, I would give it to Andy for obvious reasons, right? I said, I don't think I have to explain myself. Okay. You can read into that however you want. Maybe they thought that
apparently people did.
Yeah. But then Rennie was like, hey, I would suggested that maybe Adam was up for Hillbilly of the Week. Okay. And the reason for, and here's the thing, you and I both have said across the board, points scored is not the determining factor
Not always,
for this. No. Okay. And so did Adam do a bonehead thing? No, he scored 116 points.
Yeah.
Did Herbert underperform in 2 matches that he had that he could have won that he didn't? Yeah. Well, I could say I've given take Adam out of it.
You've given it for less.
I've given it for less. And I've given it to people for similar reasons, for nothing in their control, but just some player on their team underperformed.
Very capable of getting enough to win and coming up 2 points short or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. So,
or in your case, 10 points short.
Or 10 points short. God, Josh Dobbs. Gosh.
You thought you were so smart like 3 weeks ago picking him, and he was this dynamo that was doing great. And you're never gonna play Trevor Lawrence again. You're gonna ride him out the rest of the season.
14 days ago, with Josh Dobbs as my quarterback and Mark Andrews as my tight end, I thought I had a shot.
Smartest guy in the room. That's what
I thought I had a shot at, if things fell right, getting myself up to second, maybe first place before the end of the season, and a real legit shot of winning the championship. Now, the championship, who knows what will happen with that? Matchups will matter, who plays well in weeks 15, 16, 17, you know what I mean? But now I'm just licking my wounds and, but I get to play Junior, and I don't have a defense, and I'm still projected to score more than Junior. because I don't know if I've mentioned this before, Junior is terrible.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I mean, kind of banking on Kansas City shutting down Love, which Love's been fine, so it might not happen. Yeah, I don't. Eckler's been disappointing of late. Gibbs, New Orleans has been tough. So
I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but I'll just say, Taylor getting a broken thumb for a lot of teams would be
a death blow at this late in the season.
yeah. But what do? Be like, oh well, let me just put in another guy.
Now,
It's like,
what do you think of having a couple guys that you're really going to be leaning on going against the Bengals? Is it way less bigger deal now that the Bengals are pretty much don't have
yeah,
a
I
quarterback
think
nobody's going to care as much?
Everybody now, I think,
because you talked a big game like, hey, I won't start people against the Bengals and all this stuff.
No, we were playing for something, and it was against Baltimore. I think everybody's on board with me now to say we're tanking for Tua. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's like, I mean, what are we trying to get guys hurt? Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, and this is an honest question. I mean, for real, like, because I'm contemplating benching Chase. Like, I don't even know, but he's the, he still did okay in the game. Like,
thanks to 2 tip passes that he happened to catch.
Here's the thing that I was going to do before the broken thumb. I was going to play Taylor. I was not going to play Etienne. I was going to play Kirk, and I was not going to play Chase because I don't like having quarterback, running back, wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like for Jacksonville, that just seemed like too much for me.
And so 2 weeks ago, you probably would have been like, Dobbs is staying in.
Yeah.
over Lawrence.
Oh, that's what I said. Like
you wouldn't have to think about who you're playing against the Bengals.
Yeah. So now, I mean, yeah, the Bengals season is over.
Although Dobbs is on bye anyway, but yeah.
If they would have beaten Pittsburgh, I would be more apt to be like, hey, maybe we get a wild card spot. You know what I mean? Like, let's just keep going. Like, there's other AFC North teams that got bad quarterback play. Like, let's just see how this whole thing fleshes out over the next, 4 weeks or whatever it is. But now I'm like, okay, Jacksonville, light them up.
Yeah. And that's like last week, I wasn't worried about playing Warren and I didn't not play Deontay Johnson and Warren because it was the Bengals. I didn't because I didn't want 2 Pittsburgh guys because Pittsburgh's offense is kind of sucky. So yeah. I don't like having two in the same lineup. But this week I pretty much have to.
Yeah, I mean Junior's been scoring a lot of points, so you can't take him lightly. But that's why I'm out there. Dave. That's why I'm out there when he's not. That's why I'm grinding. And Junior's soft, and he's got no chance. But yeah. I'm not taking him lightly. I'm just taking him out. You know what I'm saying?
Is that? Did we hit everybody?
No, we got.
No. We got Ratty and.
Yeah, call me Ratty versus Heim time.
Yeah. So what do we think? Man, this one.
Dude,
they're both.
Hey, Brian can put up points. He didn't this past week, but he can.
He did.
He can put up points. And Josh has got some 4 Qs in a row on his team, so he's got to replace somebody.
Yeah, I mean, really for Brian not having Lamar, Russell's been fine. So, and that might be a shootout with Denver and Houston. So,
yeah, let him cook, Dave.
Yeah, there you go. So this could be, Brian's redemption because he's still fighting for a number 8 spot too.
Yep. And then
catches Ratty at a good time, and Ratty's got some injuries, and I think Goddard might come back though.
Yeah,
I think he's playing.
That's the last one though, right? We got all the other ones. Yeah. So
big week though.
Yeah. It's fun, man. It's down to the wire. It is crazy to think that we've gone through 12 weeks already, that this is our 13th week. It feels like yesterday that Adam was an hour late to the tavern for our draft.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Didn't seem to
but
matter. He
yeah.
had it.
Hey, we
He had it all up here.
got 2 weeks left. Everybody's in play to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
The championship is not decided yet. Like,
and you know
else
what?
we got?
There's still enough weeks where any of us could catch Travis in high points if we win out and win high points 5 in a row.
Dave.
So you're saying, hey,
Dave.
glass half full.
It's
That's me.
It was
I gotta try to
2017.
steal one high points at least during the playoffs, because sometimes playoff teams, they get cute with their lineups and maybe they'll suck, and one of us non-playoff teams can really powder in there and get a high point win. I'd like at least one. You'd probably like one because it's been a while.
David, 2017. I couldn't grow a beard back then. I still worked at Bright. Man, we didn't know what COVID was. I mean,
27. Are you serious? Is that
yeah,
what?
Dave, it's been a while.
I about ran out of fingers.
I mean, like, good.
I mean, I'm thinking when I go a whole season without getting one, I'm like, man, I usually get, even on bad seasons, I'll get a couple, but man.
Yeah, I think I did the math. I think Ed's won high points like 5 times since I have.
And probably at least one of those he had no lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, well, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. That was fun having games spread out throughout the week. Here soon, we'll get some Saturday games and some other things worked in there. It won't be too long. This week we'll flip the calendar into December. So if you're thinking you're going to jump into the side bet, if you want to do that again, we need 6 contestants. So send Dave your.
It works out better, and I mean, it's not that much money to where if you want to have it go negative or positive towards your entry fee for next year, however the case may be, if you don't win anything back, but that's always in play. So like, I mean, we let Junior compete, and I would have paid him out even because he didn't pay until after it was over. That was more.
But you didn't know that. That was an oversight.
Yeah, I thought he did. I just wasn't paying attention. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, since I can just tell you owe more next time, and if you end up winning, you just won't get that much, whenever you do win. So it's not that big a deal. The biggest thing is prior to kickoff, Brian. Prior to kickoff Thursday, tomorrow at whatever time, send the email. But when you send an email, you can put subject to, side bet, 2 studs and a dud, whatever, and then put your 3 names in the body of the email so that it's not like right there in the subject, because I don't want to know what anybody picks before I choose mine.
I gotcha. Okay. You think Brian's watching this?
I don't know. Probably not.
No. All right, Dave.
Wishful
well,
thinking.
Thanks for hosting with me. You guys all good luck this week, unless your name's Junior. And
yeah, because you suck apparently.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.